send it to you afterwards. So we deliberately didn't let 28 note-taking bots join. So we'll send the recording afterwards. That way everyone will be able to have it. And we'll start off calmly, but with today's topic, which is boosting your productivity with AI agents. I was about to say AI, which kind of translates. Well, that's a bit of a play on words with translate too, but anyway, I don't want to get into that. So, AI agents, what do they do? What are they all about? And how can we use them? We're going to take a look at that with our two experts today, Matthew, who is an artificial intelligence solutions architect at
SmartBug,
and Evans, also from
SmartBug,
who is an artificial intelligence expert, but specifically with HubSpot tools. So today, we have an event that's of course presented by HubSpot as part of the HubSpot user group, and
SmartBug
is here as a presenter from both sides. So for HubSpot, but also for those who are less familiar with HubSpot, Matthew is also here to talk about what we can do with AI in general when we want to create an agent. We can continue here.
Maybe Simon, you can talk about the upcoming event.
Yes, I was getting to that on the next slide, but we have, again as part of the HubSpot user group, we're going to have another event coming up, but this one will be in person. So at the SmartBug office, just on the south shore of Montreal, in St. Lambert. So in June, on June 19th, there will be food, drinks, and several presentations. We don't have the full lineup of everything that will be presented yet, but honestly, we're expecting maybe around 100 people for this event. If the weather allows, we'll also have some networking out on the terrace in St. Lambert. There's an amazing view of Montreal, in case you haven't had the chance to come visit the SmartBug offices yet. And so, that's it. There will be me, Evans, and Matthew, but also lots and lots of other presenters. And we're working on a bunch of little prizes, a bunch of surprises, things like that. So if you ever feel like networking and getting out of your house or your respective offices for a bit, well, you can come see us then. We'll also send out all the details afterwards.
I put the link in the chat if you want to go check it out right away.
Vero, I think you put the preview link, if you could put the official link.
My bad, I'm sorry. I've got that. I'm just running around taking care of a few things.
The purpose of AI agents is, well, it's also the reason why we're here today. Basically, it's about transforming businesses with optimized machines and moving from being scattered, overwhelmed, and chaotic, with data everywhere and in any form that we can't analyze, understand, or use, to being organized, efficient, and optimized. That's going to be the goal of the agents. So the effects, obviously, are to optimize operational processes and automate a bunch of repetitive tasks. You've already seen it in the past just with generative AI, all the things that have started to be done and where we can really gain in speed. Quality is also improving, and with AI agents, we're able to provide more information to the AI so it can give us better answers. You'll probably see that later on with our two experts. And instant personalized customer experiences, so there's no longer a need for someone to personalize all your marketing. We can do personalization, but at scale, and we save time and obviously reduce errors. So if we're ready to go, let's hand it over to Evans, who will talk to us about HubSpot and the AI agents in HubSpot.
Yes, hi everyone. Glad to be here today. I'm going to focus a lot on the new agents that have been launched on the HubSpot platform. I was in New York a few weeks ago for the HubSpot Spotlight. That's when they announced some of the new features and, to my great surprise, they didn't just talk about the new features, they actually launched them. So they're already available in most client accounts. If after the training, after this little webinar, you want to double check that you have access to these tools, don't hesitate to contact me. We'll share the recording with you. You'll have access to my calendar. You can book a meeting with me without any problem. So my goal today is really to get you excited about using HubSpot's AI agents. But I'll also show you a little tool that's outside of HubSpot, but is part of the HubSpot family through agent.ai. So the first question I want to ask you is, why is it really important to start using AI agents right away? There are some very specific reasons. Yes, it's cool. It's very trendy right now. I mean, I probably should get into it. But there are also scientific reasons. So I'm going to share some of those points with you. I'd like us to start by looking at this curve. I imagine you've already seen this curve in other webinars, but it's the adoption curve for changes that revolutionize the way we do things. So just to explain how to read this curve, whenever there's a new technology or a new change that can revolutionize the way we do things, there's always a period where it's the innovators who benefit from it. Then we have the early adopters, those who are the first to jump into the new technology. Next, we have the more advanced majority, which in English is called the early majority. Then there's the late majority, those who are more conservative and wait until things have proven themselves before getting involved. And, well, there are always the real laggards, the skeptics, who are the last ones to use the technology. If you really understand this curve, you'll see that most people are in the early majority and late majority, and at the beginning and the end, there are fewer people. So, what I like to show you, what I want to tell you, is that there's a direct relationship between profitability and your financial opportunities depending on where you are on this curve. So the earlier you are on the curve, meaning you're the ones innovating, you're the ones inventing how to use the technology, the more you're early adopters, well, the more you'll be the ones who benefit from all the advantages of these technologies and therefore make more money. Whereas those who are more pragmatic, those who are more conservative, well, the pragmatists will make a bit of money, but the conservatives might actually lose some because they may be falling behind. So, if you're maybe the leader in your market, but you're someone who's a bit more conservative when it comes to adopting new technologies, you're putting your business at risk of being overtaken by the challenger in your industry. And we understand that skeptics are often the ones who lose money because, precisely, the technological debt that builds up becomes very expensive to catch up on later. So, what HubSpot decided to do is make their agents very, very, very accessible to help you move to the left. So, if you were a skeptic, to bring you over to the conservatives, if you're a conservative, to move you toward the pragmatists toward the visionaries, and the visionaries toward the tech enthusiasts. So, that's what we're going to try to show you, how HubSpot did that. I'd like to show you, talk with you. Sorry for the image, it's a bit blurry and pixelated, but before the AI revolution, there were other revolutions that followed the same curve. Think, for example, about printing. Before printing existed, those who were the first to get on board with printing were the ones who were able to get into distribution. So that opened doors for them. Next, think about e-commerce. The first ones who started having transactional websites paved the way for much more convenience. So they won, they got ahead, they gained an advantage over their competitors. Same thing with streaming, you get the idea. So those who act earlier don't just settle for adapting to the technology, they take advantage of all the benefits that will allow them to thrive. So if we just think about printing, e-commerce, and streaming, the ones who went all in are now the leaders in those industries. So that's why, when there's a massive change happening, you also need to massively adapt your businesses to jump into these new technologies. HubSpot decided to go all in with AI, so we're talking about virtual assistants, about agents, which I'll show you in a bit, and all the tools that gather information for you. And recently, they launched Breeze. Breeze is a conversational agent built right into HubSpot, which lets you go and retrieve information. It allows you to capture more information, for example, from email signatures. So now, it brings that information back into the CRM. You're able to get summaries of conversations you've had. You're able to look up information about your clients, find out what's happened, prepare for meetings, and so on. From a content perspective, it can help you create things like descriptions for your pages or meta descriptions for SEO as well. So it also covers the more SEO-focused side of content. And even recently, you can now create your own reports in HubSpot just by dictating what you're trying to measure. Then HubSpot will generate the reports for you. I'm going to show you a tool that isn't in HubSpot, but is on a platform owned by HubSpot called Agent.ai, it's an agent that we developed at SmartBug. So I'm just going to switch screens here. Sorry about that. I'm taking you somewhere else now. So, this is an agent we developed on the network owned by HubSpot, Agent.ai, which allows us to gather information about companies to better prepare for meetings. So, this agent we developed here will go and fetch the information. So, it does take a bit of time to gather all the information. So what I suggest is, we'll run the test, then go back to the HubSpot agents, and after that, we'll come back to see the result. I'd like someone in the chat to share with me the website of a company they'd like to have as a client soon. Then we'll have some fun seeing what we can capture. So, as soon as someone can share a URL in the chat, I'll use it. If not, that's fine, I have others ready. I have some URLs on hand, but I'd still prefer to do a little test. Bootsanope.com, let's try it. So if I do Bootsanope, boops, let's erase all of that. Bootsinope.com. Perfect. So now, I'm going to launch my agent, which will start searching for information. And like I said, it takes a little while. So we'll let it run, and we'll come back to it at the end of my little presentation. So, I'm coming back here. So, now we're going to dive into the 4 agents that HubSpot recently announced, which are really going to help you. This will give you more results, as a business. So more opportunities, more, activities that will be generated thanks to artificial intelligence. But above all, it will really save you more time for your future. You'll be able to focus on the areas where you really need to be present. So, the tasks there are certain tasks that will be done by the virtual agent. I'll name the 4 agents for you. There's one agent that helps with prospecting. They call it the prospecting agent. We have a customer agent, which we'll look at in a moment, a knowledge base agent, and a content agent. So, that's what I'm going to try to share with you over the next 10 minutes, the little agents from HubSpot. We'll start with the first one, the prospecting agent. So, the prospecting agent is an agent that replaces a person in your company for prospecting, reaching out to your clients. I'll be honest with you here, it works better in English than in French. HubSpot hasn't fully developed the whole French language concept yet, but it's coming. It's on the way, so what I'm going to show you is what we have on our own HubSpot. Let me switch screens for you again. We're going to go into the prospecting agent. So, can everyone still see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So the prospecting agent is only available to people on sales teams. This agent is available as soon as you have the HubSpot Sales Professional or Enterprise solutions. The concept is simple. You need to train the agent by sharing sales content you already have with it. So, if you have a sales team and you already have, say, PowerPoints that explain your products or services, or you have web pages on your site that describe what you do, etc., you can use that information to provide to the agent. And then, you give the agent certain channels where you want it to look for prospects. For example, I can say, everyone who visits my products and services page, or who fills out a form, or who has done some other specific activity online, consider them as potential leads. Or you can even upload a list of leads, and automatically, the system will go find those leads and start creating follow-up sequences to reach out to those people. You have 2 options, either let the agent be autonomous and actually contact your clients. In our case, we prefer the second option, where we want it to create sequences, but we want to approve them before they're sent. So, if I take the example of Yvette Stoltman, for instance, you can see it has already created 3 emails for me, ready to be sent. And if we look at the emails, I'll check the first email, and you'll see that they're really based on news about the company or the activities they've done on your website. In some cases, it will say, "Oh, I saw that you're interested in X topic because you visited our website." So they're really going to look for something very personalized. So you see here, it's here, in our case, it personifies one of my employees, Fred Fortin, but we could give him a fictitious name, and he would do the prospecting himself. So I have a first email ready to send. I have my sequence. 2 days later, a second email that's ready to go, and a third email here that's also ready to send. So if I wanted to,
We have a really good question. Can it write in multiple languages?
right now, it's only in English. It's not available in French yet, but it's coming soon. Like I mentioned earlier, it's definitely something that's coming soon. There are some client accounts that are already starting to see results in French, but in our case, we were among the first to start testing it. We're still on the version that's only in English, but it's on the way. So soon, all I'll have left to do is directly edit the content if I want to adapt it, but I can also launch the outreach. So you'll be able to create different profiles. Okay, so you can enter your entire sales team into the profiles and then assign a profile to each agent. So maybe you have experts in a certain area of your business that you'll assign to Alexandra, who will be your specialist in that field, and then you'll have Philippe in another area. So you'll be able to adjust the approaches. So that's the first agent I wanted to show you. So from a results perspective, this agent will allow you to reach a large volume. By the way, I forgot, sorry, let me just show you. From an analytics standpoint, you'll be able to see the amount of outreach you've done. So that's pretty cool. We can see here, there were a total of 341 emails sent, 113 opened, and 8 clicked. Out of those 8, 7 booked a meeting with us. So we're able to see the transfer of information to see where, actually, the progression, or rather, the conversion of your people. It's pretty cool to think that practically no human intervened in this process. It was all done by the system. So that's it for this part. So, as I was saying,
Evan, sorry, excuse me, we have a quick question about the prospecting agent. Can it go and find leads on LinkedIn?
actually, it's either you who have to feed it via linked. So you export the leads from LinkedIn and then you put them in. Actually, HubSpot will have access to your main channel, which is your website, to find leads. If you connect LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you might be able to capture some leads directly from LinkedIn into HubSpot. You can create a list in HubSpot and link it to your agent. That's the most Anglophile way to do it. I'm going to move on to the second agent, actually agents number 2 and 3. The third agent is the knowledge-based agent. I won't be able to show it to you, but I'll explain it to you because in the test account I haven't set everything up to be able to show it, but with the customer agent, I'll be able to do it. The concept of the customer agent is that it will replace a customer service agent at your company to respond to emails you might receive and to answer chats you might get. I see this as especially useful during times when you're closed. For example, let's say, I don't know, you're closed for a week, but there are still people who might write to you. Well, you could just go directly, go to this agent who will take care of responding. So now, I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to go into Spot. So, the customer agent. Again, this is an agent that needs to be trained. So, we're going to give it a certain tone, a brand voice, and a name. In my case here, the example is Smarty Buggy. I could have called it Jean-Claude, but we named it Smarty Buggy. And what we can do is train it by sharing all your knowledge-based content, your business practices, your website, once again. You're also going to set rules, guardrails. So, we don't want you to talk about this. We don't want you to talk about that. So we'll be able to, if I show you an example here, these are all the contents that we've shared with this agent, which it can use to respond. And so we'd be able to say, do I want you to cite this content as a source or not? So it could be blogs, blog articles, etc. So we can really pull in all kinds of content that we're going to load to educate our agent. And conversely, we'll also be able to identify content that we don't want it to mention. Maybe in some cases, you have internal content that shouldn't be shared externally, so we'll be able to do that. I'm just going to give a very, very, very simple example. But let's say we're testing SmartBug, and I ask it the question, do you do web maintenance? From website. Let's say that's the question I want to ask. We'll do the test in French. I've never done it in French before, so this is a little test. So we'll let it think for a bit. We'll see what it does. In this case, you understand that I'm more in chat mode, but it could also be emails. It could reply directly to emails. So let's give it a little time. So it told us, yes, we offer comprehensive website maintenance and update services. Our approach aims to ensure the security, performance, and integrity of your site, no matter what technology is used. So here, we're talking about different technologies that we, ourselves, are proficient in. Here's what maintenance includes. So here, it went ahead and listed them. Our team stays on the lookout, blah, blah, blah. You get it, there's a lot of information it's able to share. And it went on to cite a bunch of sources that it used to answer the question. So in this case, probably a good practice would be to uncheck the sites. We wouldn't necessarily want it to share every blog post where it found the information. So probably in our settings, we could go and uncheck the articles we don't want to be mentioned. They'll be used to document the answer, but they won't be listed under the response. So that's just one example, but there are plenty more. You could ask all sorts of questions, like, what are your opening hours? Do you have this product or not? So there's a whole lot of information that can be answered by a bot instead of a human. The knowledge-based agent, just to give you an example. What it's going to do is identify where the gaps are, what questions people are asking that you don't have content to answer. So it will list them on the right side here. So, for example, here we see the greeting. They're going to list all of them here, and they'll ask you, hold on, let's go here. They'll ask you, what could we have answered? So if I take the example of greeting, it would say, all right, Evans, what could we answer when when the agent wasn't able to answer that question? Here, we can go and add, we can suggest our own answers or simply refer to other responses we've sent to the client ourselves as a human. And then the system will learn in order to prepare a new knowledge base article that can later be used by your customer agent. So basically, we identify the potential gaps in your knowledge base. Yes, Pascal, did you have a question?
Yes, sorry, I had two quick questions. I just wanted to check because we practice with Copilot, with ChatGPT, with the different tools, but is the OpenAI, let me see.
You a thing.
What you're showing us, is it backed by OpenAI or is it really a tool that HubSpot has really developed separately, or?
It's a tool that HubSpot developed that combines different technologies. So the information we'll use, for example, Copilot, they'll use ChatGPT, they'll use Claude, they'll use different tools to cross-reference and give you the best answer. So it's HubSpot that developed this sort of mix of AI tools.
Okay, my follow-up question. I imagine we can, with prompts, make sure it's well aligned so it tells the truth and doesn't just make something up when there's no answer.
It doesn't make things up. It really only searches sources that you have trained it on. So it's not a system like ChatGPT where sometimes it just goes off on a tangent and invents something. That's not the case here. It's 100% focused on the content you've already shared with it. So that's how he's going to do it. In terms of the knowledge base, it relies on your agent's responses. So in other words, if someone asks a question and there isn't any content created to answer it, you have no choice but to have a person, a human, respond to the customer. So it will use the way you answered the customer to create the knowledge article. So if you have people on your team who go off on tangents or don't tell the truth, the agent might also not tell the truth. So you just need to be careful about that.
Perfect. Thank you. And my last follow-up question, if there are Facebook user groups, comments, and all that, can it, go search in those groups to see the most frequently asked questions, etc.?
If you share that link as a reliable piece of content that it can read, then it will be able to do that. But be careful because, again, if someone says anything at all on those forums, it will take it at face value and it could take you in the wrong direction. You have to be careful. Personally, I prefer your own content if I were you, but yes, it's possible to do that. So I'll come back to that. So this is more about the concept of a customer and knowledge-based agent, really about how to respond to the client. It's kind of a self-service approach that we're offering at this level. So from a results perspective, it's really based on public URLs, kind of like what you were asking about, Pascal, based on your knowledge base. I highly recommend this approach. In natural language, it should normally save you a lot of time and could even resolve up to, here it says 90% of requests, 90% of common requests, autonomously. Okay, so of course it doesn't handle exceptions. So the most common requests your clients have should be easily manageable with these solutions. Now let's move on to the last one, the content agent. So this is an agent that's available when you have HubSpot's Content Hub, either the Pro or Enterprise version. What this will allow you to do, let's go through it. It will let you create landing pages, create podcasts, create case studies, blog articles, using artificial intelligence. So let's say, for example, we're creating a landing page. Here I can choose the type of landing page. In this case, we're going to showcase a product. We'll tell it we want, create me a landing page for SmartBug Agency to promote. What should we try? To promote. We'll promote our or AI agent creation services. So let's go with that. We would choose the type of client we're targeting. In this case, I'm going to choose, we have an AI-driven customer profile. Now, I'm going to pick my domain. Let's try it in French just for fun. Let's see what happens. From Canada. We can add documents. I'll add my PDF from today's webinar. We'll go there and click Generate. So now, we let the AI agent do its thing, and it should logically create a landing page for us. Just to be clear, I didn't give a ton of details here, so I'm not expecting everything to be perfect, but usually, what HubSpot can do is create something for you that looks great, has a nice page structure, is already optimized for SEO, and all that's left for you to do is tweak the content a bit. But you can use the AI tools included in the landing page to generate the content, create images, and so on. So we'll let it load for a bit. In the meantime, if you want, what I can do, I can show you, it's already done. So take a look at how this page looks, discover our AI agent services, discover our solutions, a little image on the right. It even made us a logo banner that we could use to show that these people trust us. Custom solutions, AI expertise, increased productivity, some features of our AI agent services. So this is based on the document I shared in the PDF for today's webinar, which is what created all of this. A section for a testimonial. Of course, Neil Kumar didn't actually say that, so we'd need to edit it and add other content. In short, it's still pretty comprehensive in just a few seconds. I have a landing page that was generated by the AI content agent. So just imagine, this is for a landing page, but we can do the same for your blog posts. It can do this for your case studies, so it's possible to create a lot of content quickly. As I was saying, it comes with content tools, but I think it's really more about marketing and sales support tools. So if you can have content tools in your platform along with sales and marketing tools, and in marketing, there's a great synergy that's going to happen. So the content agent allows you to generate many types of content, lets you run A/B tests very quickly, but above all, helps you avoid writer's block, so it really sparks inspiration. So it's quick to create multiple pieces of content. Imagine if you already have a good audience on your social media, a strong community. If you were doing 2 articles a month before, now it's easy to do 2 articles a week. You're going to strengthen your connection with your audience even more. I'll wrap up here. So as we said, the goal is to get started quickly with AI solutions. HubSpot wanted to make this as accessible as possible without us even realizing it. There are lots of features in HubSpot that use artificial intelligence. The idea is simply to push your team to go and use them. Like the phrase we see on the screen right now, in your company, what would really make a difference? You hire smart people. You're a company that stands out, that shines, so keep it up. Also use smart tools that will help you shine even more. So let's go take a look at the result from our AI agent that I created earlier, that little test. So earlier, we gave a URL that was, nope. I think a nope. Yeah. So, as you can see, our agent, what it allows us to do is to pull information about the company, so quick facts. It helps us understand what sets the company apart, why customers like them. So what are the complaints or the more negative aspects maybe about this company, what challenges they face, what projects they have that are publicly available on online sites. What I like in our case, since we're a tech firm, is that we're able to gather information about the technologies being used. So that helps us understand a bit about the potential scope of the project. But look, now we're getting to the part that I like the most. They'll be able to give me similar companies. They'll be able to tell me about work we've done for other clients that I could share as examples with them. So we have plenty of examples here. And if I scroll down, there's content we've created that could be relevant to share with them. And as a salesperson, what are some questions we could ask? Questions that are maybe a bit more advanced than what the average person would normally ask during a discovery call, like about their marketing, their sales, their customer support, their revenue, and so on. And on top of that, our agent will go ahead and create a series of emails that we could use in a sequence to reach out to this company. So, the agent we developed doesn't live inside HubSpot, but rather in the interface in the HubSpot ecosystem. So I can take that content and push it back into HubSpot. For those who are interested in a solution like this, you'll need HubSpot operations tools, either Operations Pro or Enterprise, which allow you to use webhooks, that is, hooks or information transfers between the agent here in HubSpot. But this would allow you to further document the company's profile before reaching out to them. That pretty much covers everything for me. So, as I was saying, the goal is to help you become more productive. So, more productivity, providing a better experience for your clients, and achieving more real and faster results. So, if you're ever interested, I'll share my calendar in the email that will follow. So, you'll even be able to book a meeting and we can look at how to get all this set up. I'll hand things over to Matthew. Matthew, I'm going to stop sharing. I'll let you, share.
Yes, okay, perfect. Thank you.
We'll be able to.
I'll do this quickly.
Yeah, Matthew will be able to talk to you.
He's really struggling to do 2 things at once. Just a second.
Matthew will be able to talk to you about, custom agents that aren't necessarily in HubSpot this time.
Okay, can you see the whole screen?
Yes.
Evans? Yeah, can you hear my sweet voice clearly? Is it good?
Sweet.
Okay. Okay. I like this because I do a lot of webinars in English, so it feels good to speak French to do webinars at home. Right now, it's 12:37. What I'd like to do is still leave some time for questions at the end. So Vero, if it's running a bit long, just let me know. Okay?
Absolutely.
Excellent. I'm going to start with the common story we see when it comes to integrating AI into businesses. Quickly, every company is going to start using ChatGPT. I think everyone here is already using it. After that, what's great is that we'll start using tools like Breeze. Evans mentioned it very well. But quickly, strangely, it changed. Quickly, we'll see that chatbots, nowadays, it's so easy to go and create a chatbot. At that point, companies are going to go and create a chatbot. After that, we'll hire a consultant because we saw that the chatbot is really interesting, but there are some limitations. So, we'll hire a consultant. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my presentation. I don't understand. Usually, it stays. It's okay. I'll continue with the story. So with the consultant, we're going to add more chatbots because the accuracy keeps getting more precise. After that, we'll start integrating custom tools into the CRM, into your ERP, because sometimes it can get pretty complex. And now we see that it's proven. So now we're going to have training sessions for employees to use all these tools. But what's really interesting here is that companies, this is typical, they'll create an internal AI team. They'll say, Evans, Matthew, and Vero, you guys are in charge of AI. Now, it's your initiative. So with the consultant, most of the time, they'll discover a new technology called RAG. At first, Simon mentioned accuracy, the results that weren't really precise. RAG is a database that's your own. It's your company's intellectual property that we'll put into a database, making it ultra-personalized and highly specific. Then, that's when we'll see the emergence of multi-agent systems. That's where I geek out, honestly. This is my area of expertise. This is where I come in. You kind of have to go through all those steps to realize, hey, we need multi-agent systems. Evans mentioned some really good agents, but there's one more step that I'll show you later with the demo. So make sure to stick around until the end. Once everyone started using AI, there was an explosion of use cases and case studies. By the way, if you're on the AI team, you're going to get bombarded with tons of ideas. I thought of this idea, that idea. Just to give you an example, a week ago I released a video on how to automate a request for proposal all the way to the proposal itself using a multi-agent system. I got 41 internal messages. There were even colleagues in sales who sent me the RFP. They were like, hey, do you want to fill out the RFP for me? It was pretty funny. So with these multi-agent systems, it's going to allow us to stop working in silos. In the past, there are 5 parts to a company. We have offer creation, marketing, sales, operations, and finance. These are multi-agent systems that will actually let us connect all those departments together. Finally, once we've gone through all of that, there's an AI culture that's really well established within the company. That's when you can actually see productivity gains of 40 to 60% or even more. Up to now, it's been relatively complex, but it's been simplified. I'm just curious if you could write in the chat, just let us know, which phase are you in? Phase 1, you're chatting with a ChatGPT. Phase 2, you started exploring a custom GPT. I'm curious to see if there are people who have already started using a custom GPT. Finally, when you want really specific results, you'll move on to AI applications, which I'll show you. I can't see right now. Honestly, I can't tell if there are any chats. Vero, has anyone started typing?
Absolutely. Most are 1. There's Julian Jacques, who's in phase 3.
Oh, okay.
There's also someone just starting phase 3.
Just starting phase 3, okay. Is anyone in phase 2?
We said 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5? Okay. Well, thanks. That's actually going to help me with what's next. Okay, so quickly, on the technical side, what does that mean? Can you see my mouse? Because I'm going to kind of help with the mouse. Eventually, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So in chat, it's really important. We in English, we call these prompts. So we're going to tell ChatGPT, here's my instruction, and here's the result. That's not one. That's great. I'll even give you a guide in just a bit to really help you out. But now, with a custom GPT, what's really interesting? It's the same as a chat, it's just that we're going to inject some context into it. I'll show you an example, but, it could be an Excel file that will really help us get the right information. So there are no more hallucinations. We avoid that. But eventually, what we want is, to connect our context and also the memory, right? We want the chat to remember, hey, what did he ask? There are 4, 5 requests or even, maybe 20 past requests. But the real strength is connecting tools. I'll show you an example in a bit where the chat will take a PDF, analyze it, we'll chat with it a little, and then we'll create a proposal in Google Slides. Examples of chat with custom GPT. I'm going to skip that because I see it's 43. Okay, but you'll be able to, review it. I think we'll share the presentation, but go ahead. But for example, in construction, I just made an example, but in chat, it can, be like, example, extract the key points from this call for tenders. A custom GPT could be, pre-qualify the call for tenders by automatically evaluating the relevance compared to our offer, for example, because we gave it that information. But an application will let you process SAO calls for tenders live, sort them, prioritize them, automatically assign them to a manager, and even go as far as creating the proposal. Right now, we have clients for whom we're doing exactly that. As for timing, I'll just mention, since there are a lot of you at stage 1, I'll help you move towards stage 2. Because the limitation of chat is that, it often lacks knowledge. So, what you're going to want to do now is move toward a custom GPT, which I'm going to show you. That's really where the strength lies. Then, why would you want to move from a custom GPT to an application? It's because there will come a time when you'll have 25 or 35 custom GPTs. Custom GPTs don't communicate with each other. That's what we call agent chaining. The multi-agent system I mentioned to you, well, that's exactly what it is. We're going to take 25 custom GPTs and connect them together so they can communicate with each other. So, live demo. By the way, I won't be doing the chat demo, but what I will do is give you a guide. There are about 9 prompts that I use every day. That will really help you. So Vero, or in the email structure, afterwards, you'll get that. This is really powerful. So, custom GPT, I'm going to show you an example. I'm in the ChatGPT ecosystem. We'll stay here. When I go here to explore my GPTs, here, I'll go to Custom GPT, and I created an example just for the demo here. So I'm going to show you a bit of what it is. Quickly, in the instructions, there's always the name, the description of the custom GPT, and then we have the instructions. In the instructions, that's where we put the prompts. The prompts, just to give you an example, this is a preview of the guide I'm giving you for free. I used the structure. Hang on, 2 seconds, it looks like, okay. I used the Raka structure. What's the role? What are the actions it needs to take? What's the context it needs to understand? What are the expectations that I have, that I expect it to deliver as a result? So, action, context, expectations, everything is there. So now, what I'm going to do here, by the way, is that I've provided all the information about our offerings since I'm in the AI department. So now, I'm going to show you an example of what it might look like when I go chat with this custom GPT. Now, I'm going to ask, Summarize the conversational website offering. We create conversational websites. We understand that the impact of ChatGPT has kind of changed the way we have to navigate through websites, click and scroll. We're slowly going to stop seeing that. So that's where conversational websites come in. Right now, as you can see, it's going to fetch, kind of oddly, the Google Sheet I gave it. But I'm going to ask it, summarize the offer for me. Sorry, I'm using an English keyboard. Summarize the offer for me in French. So, the name of the offer, the description, who is it ideal for? Examples of clients, that's true, that's one that we have. We have the case studies. What are the prices? That's something you know a normal cat is never going to get to the prize, by the way. I'm curious to see if it will be able to find them. That's not true. There's some hallucination going on about that right now. You really have to work a lot on the content, so all of that, it's not true. Right from the start, you can see the limitation, and I have to work on the prompt. You see this price here, right from the start, it's not the right one. So, limitation, I've already hit one. And honestly, I wasn't expecting to get this result in this way, but I'll show you the next step. Remember, we had chat, the custom GPT I just showed you. Now, we're going to go into an AI application. The big objection I have when it comes to creating tools is that, at some point, people get a bit fed up with adopting new tools. Having 25 different tools, the training for all these tools becomes too demanding for employees, and some of them get discouraged. What we can do with custom solutions is connect a chat to any chat platform you use. I'll show you an example in Slack. I don't know if any of you here use Slack. It could be Slack, it could be Teams, it could be any chat platform. But I'm going to show you the ultra-specific version. So here, I'm a sales representative. I just received a request for proposal, and I want to know if this RFP fits with our offerings. So I'll say, analyze this offer. Right now, it's analyzing. Analysis in progress. I'm being asked to stay connected. Perfect. Right from the start, it's going to tell me okay. The company name, sorry, it's going to be bilingual right now because this is a tool I'm developing for our US team at the moment. We're going to do everything in French. Great, I have the company name, I know where it is, the point of contact. Here, it even tells me we don't have the website. What do they need? What do they want? Conversational websites? When is it for? Blah, blah, blah. Excellent. Me, I'm going to ask them, I'm going to speak to them in English. I'm going to ask, can you match this RFP? RFP means a request for proposal with our pricing and packaging. Right now, just so you know, with tools like this, we don't want the answer to be fast. We want it to be ultra precise. Right now, it's going to search through my database for the real information. I don't have any hallucinations. But normally, let's say I'm working with Evans. I get a request for proposal. It would take me way more than a minute to get the information and then go ask my colleagues, hey, this RFP, does it fit? Are we? Which package are we in? Sometimes it could be a package too with several add-ons. You'll see in a bit, I'm crossing my fingers, but so far, it's going really well. Excellent. So right from the start, it tells me the best fit is with our conversational website, yes, but package 2. This is for websites that want to qualify leads and generate leads. Now, we already know right off the bat, it starts at $10,000. Here's what it includes. Here's the timeline. Here's how much it could cost per month, what's included, and what the potential add-ons are in relation to the RFP. Now, what I'm going to ask him, that's the next thing. I'm going to show you a bit of what I'm going to do in the next step.
You told me you only have, 4 minutes left.
Yeah, okay. I'll wrap up with this. Great, thank you. So now, on the right, I have my Google Drive. Okay? So, these are my files. I wanted to go and create a proposal. Now, I'm going to say, create proposal. So, he's probably going to ask me my name and so on. Okay, so he asks me, what's your name? I'll just write Matthew Grammes. What's your role? I'll say account executive. That's not actually my role, but it doesn't matter. Then, the deadline for, I'll put my birthday, August 19th. So, right from the start, you see, no matter how we fill in the information, it's going to sort it out. Now, on the right, you'll see a new request for proposal being created automatically. All of this is done directly from the tools you already use, whether it's Teams or Slack. So we're not asking the team to learn yet another tool. It should show up. Okay, so it showed up here. On top of that, it gave me the link. I'm going to click on it. So, for the company XYZ, you can see my name here, account executive. It's for Jamie, blah, blah, blah. And in the pricing section, it added the correct prices with the right descriptions. So, in 5 or 10 minutes, we were able to fill out a proposal. Of course, this is a simplified version. But the more we work with the custom tool, the better we get. So at first, when we develop tools like this, what we do is ask ourselves, hey, can we automate 30% of the tasks? And then eventually start optimizing, maybe get up to 80 or 90%. So, that's it.
Thank you, Matthew.
There are 7 minutes left for questions.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be curious to know if there are any questions, whether it's about HubSpot or maybe more about the custom agent side of things.
In any case, there were some people asking, going back to something you mentioned earlier, they were asking, in Breeze, in HubSpot, I don't seem to have access to the prospecting agent, even though I have the Sales HubSpot Pro subscription. Do I need to do something to activate it?
Yeah, that's something we can look into. In some cases, it's because if you're on a legacy account, so you're using HubSpot's sales tools, but the old SKU, you don't have access to agents like that. It's easy to migrate, though. You just need to book a meeting with me, and I'll connect you with the right people at HubSpot to switch you to the correct type of account.
Evan, I was the one who asked the question. I just wanted to know. I just saw while we were talking that I need to sign up for the beta thing. So do you think that will solve my problem more?
It could, yes, it could. There are some tools that are still in beta mode. The prospecting agent, I don't think it's still in beta, but maybe. We've been working with it for so long, but maybe it's still in beta. It's possible.
Because it was asking me to go authorize it. So anyway, I'll see. I'll wait a few days and then I'll get back to you if it.
Yeah, perfect. No problem. In case anyone is wondering, if you're HubSpot users and you're wondering where to find the betas, when you click at the top right on your account name, you'll have access to a menu that will open. You'll see the product updates. That's where you can go. You'll see all the upcoming products. And you can filter for all those that are in beta. And there, you can enable or disable the betas. Simon, that's what you're showing, right?
Yeah, right here, product updates. And then you can go into the betas and get lost for hours and activate them all, join them all. Some of them are still closed, though, and you have to request access. By the way, there are also some that just aren't accessible at all. So for those, sometimes, if you want to ask Evans, sometimes he can get access. But there are some that are so early that HubSpot asks, do you really have a good use case? You know, just to be able to try it out. So if you ever have one, and that's the case, we can help you request access from HubSpot sometimes.
There's one. There's actually one that's an artificial intelligence tool that HubSpot launched. It's called Smart Properties. If that's something you want to explore, what Smart Properties let you do is create a property in your CRM, so a piece of information that would document a company. For example, does the company, how many employees does it have? Or does it have any open job postings? Or things like that. So what the system will do is ask you, where do you want me to get the information from? Do you want me to search your CRM or do you want me to search the internet? And if it goes to search the internet, it will populate the information for each of your companies based on what it needs to look for. So if we had searched for whether you have any open positions, well, for each company in your CRM, it will go check and then say, this company has 3 marketing positions, 2 in sales, 1 in human resources, and so on. You'll have all the information, and it stays up to date over time. You can also choose, once it has found the information, to lock it so it no longer updates. It becomes like a snapshot of the current moment. It's a great new feature that's currently in beta. Are there any other questions about the agents? Is there anyone who would like to share an example of an agent they would have liked to have, but don't? So, I'd like to hear from you.
Hi, Lib. I'm back. We just started a project with you with SmartBug for a personalized agent. I don't really know which phase I'll end up in exactly later. I answered phase 3. Maybe I'm somewhere in between phase 2 and phase 3. But our challenge is that we tried to do it ourselves, to create a custom chat, and the thing just got out of control. So, we need to get this thing under control. It's just not working for us.
I understand. It's funny, Julian, because when we got into these conversational agents, we probably started with what's supposed to be easier. We went into the medical field in the United States, so we ended up dealing with a lot of complicated stuff. We had to put guardrails in place because we were working in the field of psychiatry. We couldn't have the agent telling someone to jump off a bridge. We had to be extremely careful about how it would respond, and so on. All while complying with the laws surrounding healthcare in the United States. So by starting with something big, such a complex project like that, I'd say that now most of the conversational agents we build seem easy to us, because it's more.
I have to honestly admit that during the sales pitch with our contact, that was brought up. And I come from the medical field, though I'm not in it anymore, but I understand very well. It's kind of a great case study for you, because you can't get a more extreme example of control.
Exactly, it doesn't get riskier than that.
Well played, Thomas. You're right, you're starting. Your case, your project, it's really the beginning of phase 3, where eventually we'll start adding tools. That's one of the next phases we'll be able to do together. But it's true that it's between phase 2 and phase 3. It's really. Thank you for working with us as well.
The Breeze agent in HubSpot tempted us too, but what seems clear from our discussions is that we're much more limited. We have bigger ambitions. I think that by doing it in phase 3, we'll be able to spread our wings and go even further with all of this.
Stay tuned. HubSpot is rebuilding Breeze from the ground up. You know, really starting from scratch. They're working on version 2 of Breeze, which is going to be even more solid. So, fewer hallucinations for sure. That's one of the projects that's probably coming soon. I expect that in September, at Inbound. That's when they'll announce everything. It's exactly 1 o'clock, so we made it. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Vero. Thank you, Simon. Thanks to everyone for attending the webinar. And don't forget about our in-person event on June 19th if you're around. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to shake your hand in.
Yes, see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.